Have you ever bought a product that you just loved and wanted everyone to know? Something that just made your life easier, saved time, or just it was the perfect gift for you? Well, Real Life Mom wants to know what these products are. We have started Mom's Recommending to Mom's blog, where each week we are recommending one of our favorite products that has made a difference in our day-to-day lives. These are all products that have been mom tested and mom approved and recommended by our community. So click on the link in the show notes or visit reallifemoms.com and just click on the blog tab to see what products we have highlighted this week. And if you have a product you just love and want us to highlight it, just email us at reallifemompodcast@gmail.com. Hi, and welcome to Real Life Moms. I'm your host, Lisa Foster, and Real Life Moms is a podcast that's all about connecting moms through real parenting conversations. I believe that moms have so much insight and knowledge, and together we are powerful. On this podcast, we give moms a voice to tell their stories, share their expertise and resources through real conversations. And this week, I'm talking to Ruthie Silver. She is a military spouse, an accomplished online marketing professional, and a proud IVF mom of 2 adorable boys. Ruthie empowers moms to shed the hot mess identity and embrace their true worth so they can flourish as women, mothers, and revel in the joys of life. And today we are discussing shedding that hot mess identity and bringing the fun back into parenting. Hi, Ruthie. Welcome to Real Life Moms. I am really excited to talk to you today because not only are you a mom, but you're also what I like to call a mom caster, which I think I made up this word. So I think it is a mom who is also a podcaster that focuses on moms. So
Yes.
that's going to be in the dictionary one day.
Heard it first here, people.
Yes. And your podcast is called Talk Mommy to Me. And one of the things you're passionate about on your podcast is empowering moms, which I just love, and shedding that hot mess identity and making motherhood fun again, which is so important because we can all get wrapped up in that. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I am just delighted to be here. You're such a positive voice for moms, and so to get to chat with you is something special. So thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. So why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about just yourself and your background?
Sure. So I live here in the mountains of Vermont with my adorable little family. So I'm married to my husband, Dan, who's in the Army. And we have 2 boys, one who just turned 4 and one who will be 2 next week at the time of this recording. I work full time for a leading digital fitness and nutrition program. So I get to help a lot of moms actually find their confidence, their energy, their strength, set healthy habits. So that's what I do by day. And then, yes, I podcast. I am passionate about helping moms see themselves as something other than a hot mess mom. So we chat about a lot of fun things over there as well.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know all that. But you do a lot. And you have I mean, 2 and 4, that's in it. That's a busy time.
It is full on. My boys are high energy. I know more about construction vehicles than I ever thought I would ever need to know. And we have a blast. And it is, life is busy. It's jam-packed. They're on the go. But I truly love these ages. They're so fun.
Oh, okay. Well, I love that. I think mine are older. So looking back at 2 and 4, I remember how exhausted I felt. Like, I feel like that was a really hard time because I was working. I felt like work. I used to say at that time period, work was my day off. Like if I went to work and didn't have to stay home, I was actually off for the day because it was like lunch breaks and talking to adults and sitting at times. And so I was like, wow. So it's busy. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's something too that like with stay-at-home moms, I'm like, you guys are the real MVPs because you're right. There aren't breaks as a stay-at-home mom necessarily. And as a working mom, you kind of, for a certain period during the day, are like shifting your brain power. And, I work from home. So sometimes I even feel a little bit guilty that I'm like in my house by
Mm.
myself, like, and can like go get myself a snack anytime or like step outside on the deck and get a whiff of fresh air. But then I'm like, you know what? If I were in office, my kids love their little daycare that they go to. They have a great time. And so, yeah, I kind of get the best of both worlds, which is really nice.
Yeah, that is nice. And that mom guilt does not stop, right? It's like you feel guilty for putting that. Like I couldn't wait till my kids actually started kindergarten
Hmm.
because I felt so guilty. I don't even know why, because I worked outside of the house, but I felt so
Yeah.
guilty dropping
Yeah.
them off at daycare. But
Yeah.
once they started school, it was kind of like, well, they have to go.
It's legit.
So it's legit. Yeah. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
totally. Some days I still, as much as they love their daycare and as much as I love my job, I sometimes I still like cry at drop off. Like I'm the
Oh.
mess, right? And I think it's just because I think it's because I love my kids so much, and so
Hmm.
I want to do what's best for them. And sometimes that can seem like cloudy. Sometimes there's not a straight answer to it. But when thinking about mom guilt, I really try and put it into two categories. Either the guilt is productive for me or my kids, or it's not productive. So, for example, like let's say I lose my temper with my kids and I
Hmm.
feel guilt after. Well, guilt can be a productive emotion in that situation because maybe it makes me evaluate my behavior and come together and talk to them about what happened and apologize and connect over it and do better. That's productive guilt, but not productive guilt would be like I'm guilty that I have a job that helps me be happy and afford the
Mm.
lifestyle that we have while they're at a school that they love going to and they're playing with their friends and they're outside and they're doing activities. So, like, I try and check myself and say, is this productive guilt or not productive? And that helps me.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I do think obviously like we feel it so much more. Like they're not feeling it. I don't think they're really even affected by what's happening. Like if you're dropping them off at daycare and you're going to work, they're not
Yeah.
sitting there going like, oh, maybe I don't want to go to daycare today.
Yeah.
Just like kids don't want to go to school or I don't want to go to work.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're sitting there, being like, oh, that bad mom.
Right.
You should pick me up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. They
So,
just
yeah,
like that's their routine. That's their what
exactly.
they know. And if that ever changes, they family is my top priority. So I'm
Yeah.
open to being flexible.
Hmm.
If my needs, my desires, my vision for my family changes, I'm open. But right now we're in a really good spot, so that's nice.
Good. Yes. Now, I can assume what a hot mess identity is, but I think I should probably not assume because go down awful paths when you assume
Hmm.
something. So,
Right?
can you explain what exactly the hot mess identity is?
So, the hot mess mom identity is something that running rampant on social media right now, I would say, especially with moms of young kids like me, and that is the culture in which motherhood is portrayed as a survival mode sentence and where moms have normalized burnout and
Mm.
um, being frazzled, being just like last on the list, at the mercy of everybody's needs, not showering for a week. The only vacation you get is when you're going pee by yourself for 2 minutes,
Hmm.
that sort of narrative. And I always
Hmm.
say, like, I've been there. Like, I have those moments, but it's the chronic nature of it. Like, oh, that's just how motherhood is. Like, buckle up. It doesn't get easier. You're just going to be tired, miserable, and not have any fun for the next 18 years. But oh, what a blessing. You know what I mean? It's like,
Hmm.
so I am trying to show moms that there is a different option
Hmm.
than that one. And while it's okay to like laugh sometimes and, poke fun at ourselves when we are having those hot mess moments, it can be a season, it can be a day. It doesn't have to be a lifestyle. I think
Right.
motherhood is so much more and worthy of so much more respect and honor and like glorification than that.
I love that so much because yes, I can definitely get into the hot mess moments. I can definitely like not shower or, be
Yeah.
last on the list, or you make a whole dinner and like you serve it and you're like realize there's like nothing left for you, like we're all there.
Yeah, been there
but
for sure.
but I love like even in the beginning of this conversation how you were like I have a 2 and a 4-year-old and I already went to like oh my god 2 and 4 that's like the hardest time ever, right? But you were
Yeah.
like no I'm having so much fun, and I
Yes,
love that because yeah like it's like so much easier to talk, it's always easier to talk about the negative stuff, right? And we can all
it
come together
is.
and like
Right.
yeah dwell on all that negative stuff, but
Right.
to actually talk about the positive stuff could also have that same effect of just lifting everybody up. So I love that.
Yeah, I think, it's really important that we've come to a place where moms can shed more light on what we're really going through. Like, hey, it's not all sunshine and rainbows as much as I love my kids. And I think we've come a long way in that we can express, these feelings that we're having in an authentic, vulnerable, raw way. But now that we've established that we have that outlet, what are we going to do about it? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's good to have that to talk about, but I can't think of one area aside from motherhood in life and in modern society where it's acceptable to feel like crap all the time. So
Mm.
like as young girls we're taught like when you're dating, if someone that you're interested doesn't treat you well, then they're not the one for you and you don't have to be in a situation that, where someone's not treating you the way you deserve. When you're in college, study what you want. It's going to be a good experience, take classes that you're interested in. When you're at a job, if they don't value you, if they don't appreciate your worth, it's not the right fit. Same thing in like marriage. But with motherhood, it's just, hey, it sucks. Like you're tired all the time. Welcome to the hood. That's how it is. And I just think that, if you surround yourself with that thought, you're going to keep yourself small and you're going to kind of perpetuate this cycle of stress, of unfulfillment, of anxiety.
Beautifully said. So what I'm thinking is how do you break free from it?
That is an important question. I
Mm-hmm.
think the first step for moms is to just be open to the fact that there is a different option. Like sometimes we're so in it that we don't even stop to think like, "Hey, am I feeling the way I want to feel as a mom? Is the energy and the vibe in my home even what I want?" And realizing that we have some onus over that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very important mindset shift. The other piece of that is like starting really small. So for me, what I had to do was insist that I drink my coffee while it's hot.
Mm.
And at the beginning, that was a push, right? Because my kids are young, they're all over me. They want to, they need more Apple, they want to play cars, they'll find reasons to come over to you and engage with you. And so when I first started setting that boundary, they weren't like, "Oh, good for you, mom. Like, I'm so glad that you're taking care of yourself and honoring that boundary and carving out 5 times for you." They were like, "No, but mom, I want to play. Mom, 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 mom." But I had to just practice with that small little part of my day, kind of taking ownership of it and meeting my needs. And as silly as it is, that 5 minutes, that hot cup of coffee while the kids are playing around me makes me feel good. I'm like, I got this. This is
Mm-hmm.
nice. So finding those small ways where you can start to kind of reclaim yourself and be intentional about the way you conduct yourself in your home. And I also think like viewing your kids as like these interesting little humans. Like I'm so intrigued by my children. I don't view them as distractions from me, from
Mm-hmm.
myself, something that's keeping me from something else. And so I really think it's a lot of mindset work to
Yeah.
start. And then, taking the little actions to back that up.
I mean, gosh, I wish we would have met like 10 years ago or my kids were younger because I'm still drinking my cup of coffee cold, but I think it's actually me though. It's not my kids. I just keep leaving it places and running around. But that's okay. I have a Yeti cup now and it keeps it hot. So when I
Oh, there you
find it,
go.
it does
There you
help. It does
go.
help. I love that what you're doing because what I didn't realize when my kids were small, I think so I guess I'm a little older maybe, but like when my kids were smaller, I definitely had the mindset of like, oh, everything has to be perfect.
Hmm.
I'm like in there and doing things. And I was like a working mom too. So I didn't
Yeah.
have all this time,
Hmm.
but I definitely felt that. So when I finally realized like, okay, we could be messy, we could be ourselves. This does not have to be perfect. It was
Yeah.
definitely like, ah. But what I didn't do until much older, like now I do this, but much
Hmm.
older, and I wish I would have started like you did, is just setting some of those little boundaries because the kids like learn routine, and if they know that mommy gets up, has her breakfast, takes like, 20 minutes to do this, and we're just going to
Hmm.
sit in our room or around, whatever you're doing in the living room or they're sitting at the table, wherever they are, they just get used to that routine
Yeah.
and they respect it. And I feel like I didn't see that until they were, much older. Like honestly, like every Thursday I podcast around this time, and I've
Yeah.
got people running in and out of the house while doing so.
Hmm.
But they know I'm down here. There's no calls to help me do this or that. If something happens, they're going to take care of it. Like that. They know that it's been a routine. And I wish I started that much, much younger.
Yeah, well, hindsight, right?
Hindsight.
For me, it was like a necessity. I felt that, especially in kind of today's motherhood culture, when we are like expected to do so much, entertain our kids, work, be the primary caregiver in many situations, like I just felt myself like losing control over my day. And that really messes with your mind. And so I think it's good for the kids. I think it's good for me. And as long as I just set that expectation and I follow through in a kind but gentle way, they typically catch on. But I know what you mean. It can be really tricky. And I'm sure, and you're ahead of me in this, that you're only faced with more and different ways, that you need to establish some sort of ground rules or preserve your energy and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, it definitely gets different as they get older because now it's like they can drive, and I go to bed at 9, but I also or 10 on a late night, okay? I go to bed
Yeah,
early. I am tired. I get up
I do
at
too.
5. But, my kids like they can, my daughter can drive and she could stay out till midnight.
Mhm.
So, I need to know she's home, right? Like I don't want to be up all night and then have to go to, whatever it is. So yeah, there's definitely needs of ground rules to just also allow myself to be able to like still relax in a different way that I'm not worried about where she is, right? So
Yeah.
it gets very different and different boundaries.
Yeah, whatever that those little things are to you that make a difference in how you feel and how you view yourself as a mom, I think are really important. So
Mm-hmm.
to me, like moms were the heartbeat of our homes, I like to say. And so we're irreplaceable in our homes. And so we've got to kind of be our own like hype people and say, you know what, I'm worthy. I'm a leader. I've got this. And if I don't, I'll ask for help, even though it's hard. It's hard to
Mm-hmm.
ask for help, but that's not a cop out to not do it. I'm gonna determine like what my priorities are, my values, and I'm gonna, create an atmosphere that I feel good about, that I feel proud about, that I feel like addresses, the needs of the people that I'm responsible for and
Yeah.
for my own self.
Yeah, totally.
Mhm.
I love that you do that and I love that you're doing it already. And I love the idea of a mindset shift and how you have a curiosity for your kids
Yeah.
versus feeling like I'm trying to get this done and I'm being distracted. Because that, that changes the feeling in the room when we're frustrated because they're trying
Yeah.
to accomplish something. So I
Yeah.
love that. So I know fun is part of your, what you like to do. You like to make motherhood fun. So how do you do that?
I think that if you are looking for fun, you're going to find it. So,
Mm,
like, just before I came down here, my kids were like singing songs and playing music and playing with their trucks. And I think, like, first of all, I find it fun to show a genuine interest in what they're doing.
mm,
They were excited to sing for me, and so I reflected that excitement back and I got up and I danced. So I'm always looking for like the fun and little moments. And then, I want my kids to look back and say, like, my mom had this almost like whimsical air about her. Like my mom made things come to life. And so
mhm.
that's just my perspective. And so, my kids are 2 and 4. We're not like going to concerts at night and partying. We're like going to the park and we're going to the playground and we're going to the library. And so moms can have fun at those things too. I try and have as much fun as like my kid who has found a cool new rock. Like I try and just harness that spirit.
Mm.
And sometimes that means like I I gotta preface this. I am not like the fun mom. There's a couple like definitions of fun mom I feel like that are floating out there. I'm not the fun mom that's like sugar, skip your naps, like whatever, screw
Mm.
it, let's have fun. I mean, there are days that call for that, and it's like whatever. And I'm not the fun mom that that manipulates fun. So, like, I'm not coming up with these activities or these in depth crafts to be fun.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm more like, let's just let life naturally be fun. I want to smile at my kids. I want to find stuff to laugh about. I want to be silly. And so that's how I view fun, like everyday fun, or
Yeah.
making the ordinary into the extraordinary kind of fun.
Yeah, I love that. I was, and I say was because I don't really do this anymore. I'm more like you now, probably just being fun in the moment. Like I'll be
Yeah.
doing the dishes and we're singing and dancing. And
Yeah.
I don't know if my kids think that's cool or not because, like I said, they're teens, but it is fun.
Yeah. I'm
But
sure
when
they'll look back on it
no,
fondly.
they sometimes do a little jig or two. Yeah, they won't, they'll deny it, but it's true.
Yeah.
But when they were younger, I was probably the one that came up with like activities. Like
Hmm.
I remember I would do crazy stuff, and my kids still remember it, so
Tell
I'm really
me.
excited about it. I've done a few crazy things, like one of which is coming to mind is I made like a whole mini golf
Oh
course
my gosh.
inside our house. And so I just like would take pots and pans and things like that. And, we'd have like one putter and a ball. And then you'd have like, just different things,
That's so
cardboard boxes.
good.
It was so much fun. And then and we would say, oh, we're doing mini golf night. And it would be like literally in the house. And so we would
Oh
do
my
things like
gosh.
that. And,
I'm gonna steal that idea.
oh, steal
That I can
away.
do. I thought you were gonna say some like really intricate craft, and I was gonna be like,
Oh,
I'm
no,
excited
no.
about that idea, but I just cannot. But I can do like pots and pans and mini golf. That sounds like
Oh,
a
yeah,
blast.
totally. So fun. And the other one that actually my kids said the other day, because it was St. Patrick's Day, like what, a month ago or something. And on St. Patrick's Day, I'll never forget, I did this coolest thing when they were probably similar to your age kids, where
Uh-huh.
I had little green footprints like leading from their room to basically outside, but along the way there was like candy dropped, like Skittles or Starburst or
Mhm.
things like that, and it led all the way out and had little notes, I think, and the clues led all the way outside to our play set, which had a rainbow on top. Like the play was one of those rainbow play sets, and it had like their pot of gold, and
Oh my
they were
gosh.
like, "Do you remember when we did St. Patrick's Day?" Now, granted, I'm not Irish. I just love holidays, so I'll like celebrate anything.
Love a good theme.
Love a good theme. And now I'm like, well, we do corned beef and cabbage still. Like they did not think that was great. So this year, like the other year, I bought like Lucky Charms just to make them feel better. But yeah, so I've done some really creative, fun ideas. But you have to
That's so
plan. You have to
awesome.
plan a little bit. I've become less of a planner as they got older.
You do have to plan, and I think if you are have an idea that sparks you and you feel inspired, go for it. And if that's not your thing, that's okay too. You have plenty of other opportunities for fun. I'm like amazed by moms like that who like come up with these things and make these awesome memories.
And you know what? It was fun then. But like
Yeah.
to do something like that now, no fun. So I don't do it.
Yeah, you kind of got to honor what your version of fun is. And I think too, like as moms, we can have fun just as women. We can carve out time for our own fun as well. And that's only going to make us in brighter spirits at home.
Yes. Yeah. And my kids actually love when I do that. I have to say, especially my daughter. Like I'll do a mom's night or even invite a few friends over. We all happen to be parents, but you don't have to be. And we'll, do either a movie night or, sometimes it's about business. We'll all have our own businesses and we're all getting together just to talk about business, but we're sitting outside and having wine and cheese. And my daughter loves when I do that. Like for her to see her mom do something like that, I think it inspires her that she'll continue to have some fun traditions to look forward to almost.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a good point is, our kids are really looking at us and they're absorbing our mood, what we're doing, how we're living our life. And not to say that as like a heavy, like, be careful of what you're doing and saying at all times, because if you don't have fun, your kids are going to like grow up and need therapy. But they are kind of taking their perspective of the world from your lead. And so as moms, that's a really cool opportunity for us to live this version ourselves that we would want our kids to feel proud of, to say, I got to see my mom, she hosted these get-togethers and she had all these incredible women and that empowered me and inspired me. And so sometimes I think when we get so caught up in the day-to-day, we downplay that within ourselves, and we're like, I'm just the laundry doer, I'm just the meal maker, I'm just the snack giver, I'm just the car driver. And no, you're not. You're so much more than that.
And if you're looking like you're having no fun, like all you do is chores and all you do is drive around, like that's not going to make them want to become a parent, like it looks
Yeah.
terrible. In fact, my daughter said to me one day, because let's face facts, we got our kids to do chores later. Like we were not on the ball right away with this. And my daughter goes, Mom, just FYI, I am going to be teaching my kids chores like immediately. I was like, I tried, hon. I used all the charts and all the things, but you guys just really didn't do it until the way I got my kids to do chores is I just stopped doing them. Honestly, I don't go into their room. I don't clean it. I don't do their laundry.
That's one low pressure for mom's method.
Yeah.
Just stop doing it and
I don't know if I'd recommend it for others, but it really works in my household. So I just
there you go.
I don't do that. Yeah.
Got to do what works for you.
Now, I am a bit scared to ask you this because I saw an Instagram post and I think I saw you and I want to say you were running and you had a stroller and a son in a carrier too. Were you like running with pushing a stroller? And okay.
Oh,
so for the listeners, you were running with one of those jogging strollers and you had an infant carrier with another kid in it. So you're running with two kids.
So that doesn't actually sound very safe. It was like a 20-second clip of me pushing my kid on like one of those little kid trikes with like the handle for the parents.
Okay, yes.
We live in the middle of nowhere, so we're on this open dirt road, and for some reason, I'm looking back at my husband, I'm like, how was I even in this position? Why were you just walking with a phone, and I'm pushing the kid on the trike and have the baby in the carrier? But that's a different conversation. Anyway, he captured a really fun moment because I thought, you know what, let's turn this up a notch. So I started kind of running with my son and I'm like holding the infant carrier so he's not bobbling around too much. But yeah, they had a blast. And that's one of the reasons I take good care of myself too, is to be able to keep up with those two and haul them around and run them around. And
it brings me to health and fitness because I struggle. I get up early in the morning and this week I have to say I was very not motivated to get on my treadmill, but that's what I struggle with. I struggle with keeping up with the health and fitness because I think when I get a little overwhelmed or a little busy or I want to give myself a
Hmm.
gift of time, say, to
Yeah.
do nothing,
Yeah.
that's the first to go.
Yeah.
The health and fitness first to go. I'm eating
Mhm.
something poorly and I drop my exercise. So
Yeah.
how do you help us
So,
moms?
tell me a little bit about like your health and fitness goals right now and your expectations of yourself.
Wow. Okay. Because I'm thinking, well, I don't really have a goal, but I do. I think my goal is just to be healthy. So I
Mm.
think healthy is moving my body every
Yeah.
day for at least 30 minutes, whether that's
Okay.
walking or biking or whatever it is.
Hmm.
I believe healthy is also quiet mindfulness, so
Yeah.
meditation. So I want to be able to give myself, like, I would say an hour a day of some sort of movement, meditation, kind of
Mhm.
maybe even stretching and yoga kind of thing. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of my goal, but I do dip off and I feel like every Monday is like, oh, I could just restart on Monday.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. It's tricky when we've got so many different demands on our time, and sometimes all we want to do is like crash on the couch or
Mm-hmm.
sleep in a little bit. Um, but it sounds like you have a really holistic view of health, so that's really good. I think a couple key things is doing something that's two things. It's productive towards your goals. So it's the right thing for your goal, and it's something that you enjoy and can stick to sustainably. So I'm a big fan of strength training for women. I think that that's the the most important exercise to be doing no matter your goal. So, whether you want to kind of trim down, tighten up, whether your goal is more on your posture, your bone health, your longevity, that that is my number one recommendation for moms is strength training.
Can I ask
Um,
why strength training?
yes, I would love to tell you why. So, strength training has a very impressive resume. So, first off, it's an anabolic form of exercise, and that means that it's going to help build and preserve your muscle mass. And muscle is what we women need on our frame for a thriving metabolism. So, the more muscle you have on your frame, the more lean muscle mass you have, the more calories your body is going to burn at rest. So let's say you go on that treadmill for 30 minutes, and I'm not saying you should keep track of your calories, but hypothetically, you burn 130 calories. That calorie burn stops right then and there the second you get off that treadmill. You do a strength training session for 30 minutes, your body is going to continue to burn calories, maybe even 24 hours after. So that means that right now we're on this podcast. I did my strength training workout this morning. My body's still burning calories from that session. So it's very metabolism promoting
Hmm.
because your muscle is related to your metabolism. We need a thriving and healthy establishment of muscle mass in order to have that tight and kind of toned look that people often desire. We need it to preserve like our hormonal function. We need it for our strength. Strength training is great for your bones, your posture. So those are some of the reasons I love it. It's also low cortisol. So we
Mm.
women are stressed, right? If you are, whether you acknowledge like I'm very stressed or not, most women I know have some sort of underlying stress from motherhood, from working, from managing a household. All of those things add up to stress. And so when you pair like excessive cardio or even high intensity training, like a lot of those big box classes that people taking or group fitness classes that people taking, that adds more stress to your body. So you don't want to do anything that's going to add additional stress to your
Mm.
system. A stressed body cannot burn fat. A stressed body cannot regulate its hormones properly. So, too often I see women turning to more cardio, more high intensity exercise, and it can be a recipe for disaster, especially when paired with under eating, which is a whole different side of the coin. So, strength training is good because it adds muscle to your frame and preserves lean muscle, and it is a low stress form of exercise. Those are two reasons why I love it
Okay.
for women. And
Fascinating.
it makes you feel like strong and powerful.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and it's funny because I'm like, I have to lift weights. And it's me going into like, well, it's osteoporosis down the road, right? Like, because I
Yeah.
have hit menopause. So I'm like, I need
Yeah.
to strength train. But so
Yes.
how much do you actually recommend for strength training? Like, I know everyone's different. I mean, but is there a
Yeah.
specific like amount or anything that's kind of more general?
You can get a lot done in 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to spend more than 30 minutes. Personally, I love 30 minutes 5 times a week, but keep in mind I'm in the fitness industry and I've been working out for, more than half my life at this point. So just starting out, you could do like 3 total body sessions, 30 minutes, and you can add four. You want to make sure to incorporate enough rest, and you want to do something that's progressively challenging for you. So that might be squatting with no weight at first if you're not used to doing strength training, and then gradually adding that weight on. But continuing to challenge yourself and add more stimulus to your muscle is how you're going to reap the most benefits. And like you won't bulk up. Trust me. I've been working out. I've been strength training for like, how old am I now? 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And you see me and you wouldn't say like, oh, she looks like, Arnold
Right.
Schwarzenegger. So don't fear the strength training. I run into that a lot too.
Right. Is that like low weight but high reps? Is that what? Because that doesn't make you bulky, right? Or does it not matter?
So it's not going to make you bulky either way. And I would recommend that you lift a weight that is challenging. Like by the end of the 12th rep, you're like, screw this, I can't do another one.
I think you
So,
just lost my fun of it, though.
but you'd be surprising how fun that feeling gets
Okay, I'll
because,
let you know. I mean, I'm gonna try
yes,
it, but
yes, let me know. Once your body gets used to it, it starts to crave it. And once you see yourself progress based on, that protocol, it's very gratifying and it kind of helps you like train for life. You're going to be tested, you're going to be challenged outside of the gym or your home, wherever you're working out. And so strength training has a lot of mental benefit as well. I love a good like run or walk to clear my head, but I don't recommend that women rely on that as their main form of exercise um, each day.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always been a cardio kind of girl. Like I used to run a lot. And
Yeah.
so the walking kind of, now walking is kind of my running. But
Walking is amazing. Like use that for your walking meditation or go on a walk with
mhm,
friends, bond with other moms, clear your head, get fresh air. Like use walking as more of like a lifestyle tool than
mm,
your main kind of roadmap to results. If your goal is to become stronger, if your goal is to potentially tighten up, lose some inches, if your goal is to provide your body a strong structure in the form of anti-aging and longevity and that sort of thing.
yes, yes. And yeah, and I just need to do something at this point. So
Yeah.
I think, all right. I usually start on Mondays when I get off track, but tomorrow is Friday and I'm going to get myself up at my normal time and I'm going to maybe start with 20 minutes of lifting. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
perfect. That sounds wonderful. That sounds like a great place to start.
Yeah. Awesome. Now, can you tell us about your podcast and where listeners can find you?
Sure, I would love to. Thank you for asking. So, my podcast is called Talk Mommy to Me. So, we do a lot of conversations like this where I have moms on and we kind of get to the heart of motherhood. And I also am going to start to do a lot more solo episodes. I'll bring my husband on for some, and he's always a hoot. We'll talk about our IVF journey, we'll talk about marriage, we'll talk about, parenting from both sides of
Nice.
the coin, which I think is important. And yeah, I really aim to give moms more practical tips like this to lift them up, to reassure them and convince them that they're not a hot mess and they don't have to live in that frequency. So we have a lot of fun and I share little glimpses into my life here in the mountains of Vermont on Instagram at Ruthie.Silver. And then I also have a podcast account. It's at Talk Mommy to Me Pod.
Awesome. Yes, I love your podcast and I
Oh,
love what
thanks.
you're doing. It is really fun. Um,
Thank you.
is there any other message you really want the listeners to like hear today?
We've covered a lot of great ground, so hopefully it's been entertaining and helpful for moms out there. But, I always like to remind moms that they have a choice and they're actually in a position of power, whether they realize it or not, an agency over their own life. So if you are feeling like there's even something in your home that you want to change, something within you, you're feeling off, like it doesn't have to become your norm, and you can write the story and find a lot of fulfillment and empowerment in that.
I love that. I love that you can write the story. I mean, be the director of your own movie, right? You can write whatever you
Yeah,
want. Yeah.
yeah, you don't have to live in reactive mode. You can chart the course.
Yeah, totally. It doesn't always feel that way, but yeah,
It
taking a
doesn't, and it
moment.
doesn't always work out. Like you don't have complete control, let's be honest, but you can set into motion some things that are going to make you feel really good and make things feel more aligned,
Hmm.
and centered in your home.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having this just lovely conversation, this lovely mom conversation.
Yes.
And for all you do to inspire other moms. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Right back at you. I love your podcast. It's such a great community that you're growing, and I love, what you're about in the motherhood space as well. So I really appreciate just our conversation and having the chance to come on and speak with you.
Thank you for listening to this episode. I love the way Ruthie is enjoying each moment with her kids. And we don't have to be a hot mess. We can make some time for ourselves, even if it's just starting with drinking our coffee while it's hot. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends.